And maybe that's why Hagar is like, oh no, baby girl, I'm the wife. Like I'm not just some girl anymore. I am a wife. And she's looking like, and I got pregnant. So like, what are you really? What are you even here
Right.
for? He doesn't even
Right.
need you anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like the status that she has is much higher than what, we talk about other people who had other wives and concubines. Like everybody has these different levels that they are at. And it seems like Hagar is at a much higher level than I would have expected her to be.
Yeah.
Unless, and I don't know, because no, I'm trying to think back when we were talking about Lamech. Did he have multiple wives or did he have
Yeah.
concubines?
Yeah. Multiple
Okay.
wives. Yeah, they said he
Yes,
had
that
multiple wives.
wasn't a thing yet.
What's going on, XYZ is an XYZ Nation? Generational Scriptures back at you. Next episode, as we are getting into chapter 16 of Genesis. I think I titled this one, Somebody's Watching Me. I don't know if y'all know that title. I always feel like somebody's watching me.
Sometimes I feel like somebody's watching
Oh
me.
yeah.
So
Sometimes I
that
feel
might be
like.
a different song.
Is it?
Oh,
Sometimes
somebody's
I feel
watching
like
me.
that's the song. Is that the
You
song
know,
you were thinking about?
yes, sometimes they say sometimes I feel like. You said always I feel like.
Sometimes I feel like
It's
somebody's
sometimes.
watching me. Yep, that's it. So I was wrong. You know more about the song than I do. That's crazy.
That's
I
That's
be
cute.
knowing
crazy.
something sometimes.
Sometimes.
I love correcting people on lyrics. That's my jam.
Oh, I didn't know. So now I know I have to come correct with these song titles
If
if
I
Moya
know it, I
knows them.
yes. I don't know a lot, but the ones I know, I know.
Cool, cool. All right. So good. Y'all get it. All right. That is awesome. That is awesome. So the next thing we are supposed to do is introduce ourselves. I am the latchkeyed one himself, the former X-Man representing Gen X. All up in the area and in the upper left, we have...
I am Maya, the resident millennial.
Oops, wrong one.
Christian, play me. That's crazy. I'm telling my
No,
husband.
here's the wrong one. I got
Oh my
excited.
god.
And then in the upper right side, we have...
Jasmine, your microwaver. That's cute. I like that. That's cute. I'll take it.
I just got a whole bunch of noises here. I'm just pushing
I
buttons.
like them. I like them. And together we are.
Generational.
Scriptures. I had to do something. I had to do something.
uh,
Just because I'm a class clown. I get it. We are.
okay.
And you all are awesome, and you put up
We
with
are
me and all of my hijinks. How's that for an old
Yes.
term, Jasmine? All right.
That's old.
So, we need to get into it. So, let's start with our Jasmine's tea as we get ready to go through something that's on her mind. It's been steeping, it's been pouring.
I gotta bring my car.
I know. I didn't bring mine either.
It's so good. Okay, so see, this is the sip part. Oh, it's okay. Next episode, I'll have my tea. So I'm gonna give you guys little tidbits for your tea, all my tea drinkers. If you're already into like Earl Grey, you're into black tea or like an English breakfast tea, make sure you put a little bit of creamer. I've been putting heavy whipping cream now. They say you're not necessarily supposed to, like it's not good for you,
Uh-huh.
but like the heavy cream isn't good for you, but it's really good in tea. So I say you try
Oh my goodness.
it.
Not just cream, heavy whipping cream?
It's I'm telling you, it's so good. You don't put that much, like a splash.
Oh my goodness.
It's good.
Good.
I'm telling you. And
Ooh,
it's smooth. That's why you only do a little bit, so the tea's still dark. It's
okay.
so good. I can't even, just try it out.
I'm scared of that. There's heavy whipping cream. All right, I'm gonna try it though.
You'll
Just
love
put
it.
a
I
little bit.
promise.
All right.
You'll love it.
All right.
Now, for the real tea, we're recapping. So the tea is from chapter 15, and the biggest thing that I wanted to touch on to my Gen Z, it really is for everybody. Actually, I think this is a universal thing.
Yep.
Is replacing your fear with hope. So, in chapter 15, we see Abram really acting out of fear because the Lord made there was a covenant made, and the Lord let Abram know that he would, there would be a child and he would have like a long lineage, and he's like, where's the proof of this? Where's the proof of this? I'm not seeing it. And sometimes when you're not immediately seeing the fruits come up, or whatever the Lord has already said is going to happen, if you're not seeing it right away, or if maybe there's even roadblocks or things that happen along the way, it may discourage you. And our first instinct is to act on our own and do whatever, do something that may make this happen, or, we'll see that in today's episode. Your first thing is to be fearful. Like, all of that is stemming from fear. But something that I would encourage everyone to do is to be hopeful instead. So we get a lot of anxiety in the waiting for the promise, whatever the promise may be, whatever that thing is that you're anticipating. You get
Mm-hmm.
anxious, you start to worry about it, and while you're worrying, you're like, some people, I do. When I worry, I need to do something in the meantime
Mm.
instead of just trusting that what is going to happen or not. So while in the midst of your angst, it's really important to realize that if you just have hope that there is a bigger plan, and that this promise or this thing that you're waiting on will happen. It takes out some of those negative feelings that you may be sitting with, and will prevent you from taking things into your own hands, which is what we see with Abram a couple
Mm.
times. I had hope
Okay.
that wasn't gonna happen. But as we go on into the scriptures, you realize that he kind of continues on that, taking matters into his own hands, or the situations wind up ending up that way. So in the midst of angst, make sure you are stepping back to really understand that if you just have hope in the greater plan, everything will work out. It
Mm.
not that there's no guessing whether or not it will work out. It will work out.
Right.
So just a little bit of encouragement
Cool.
for my everybody, not just my Gen Zers,
Not
because
this
that's pretty
just
much
in
the universal
years
thing.
this time. Sweet.
Yeah.
I'm encouraged.
Good.
Thank you for the tea. Some
You're
good tea
welcome.
as usual. And then we've got to follow that up with one of the hottest things on the interwebs. The ISO boom.
All right. So, chapter 15,
Thank
we we get into Abram uh being visited again by God. So God appears to Abram and he basically says, do not be afraid. He'll be his shield. There'll be a great reward. All of these things. We had a long discussion about what is he shielding him from.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was an interesting discussion. So go back and watch that episode if you haven't already.
Yes.
And from there, God reassures Abram about his son being his heir. And in this moment, he has him look up at the sky, count the stars, and be like, all of this, like, if you can count them, that's how great your descendants will be.
Mm-hmm.
And at that moment, Abram believes God, and it's counted to him as righteousness.
Yeah.
But immediately after that, God assures him about the promised land. And Abram is like, well, you haven't given me the son yet, so where's the proof about the land? And so God does this whole ceremony with Abram where he has him cut up these animals. He lays them on an altar. He's fighting the vultures and things that are trying to attack it. I think all of this was happening in a vision, actually. We talked about that. Like,
Yeah.
this is all happening possibly in a vision. So his
Possibly.
God appearing to him is in a vision, and then everything that's leading after that, we still believe is in the vision. But at some point, God wakes him, puts him into a deep sleep where it's like dark. And then he tells him about these promised descendants of his who are going to be sojourners and slaves for 400 years. And it's just like, this is what we're waiting for. But he does say at the end of it that they will still get the land that is promised to them. So they will have to go through some hard times, but at the end of it, they'll get the reward. And we also talked about the sins of the Amorites. Is it?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the
I think it's
Amorites.
Amorites.
Has not been complete. Is not complete yet. So some people may think about like, why would you be taking the land from people? Because we've mentioned several times that people live in this land that's being promised to Abram and his descendants. Why is it going to them? And it kind of answers that here by saying, no, they be tripping, and their punishment is coming, and you're gonna basically gain from their punishment.
Right.
And then the fire, smoke, all of that goes through the sacrifice as basically sealing that and saying, God is promising and showing him, this is our covenant. I will not break it, but since you need proof, since you need something, I'm giving this to you as your proof.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome. So that's the T and the boom. The T and the boom. The T and the boom. That's the T and the boom. Hey, we can shut it down now, folks. We got the
No, now we
T
gotta
and the
get into
boom.
chapter 16.
All right, I guess we gotta go on.
16. Here we go.
Here we go. All right. Let's get it.
Okay, and just a reminder to all those watching, we do read from the ESV version,
Yes.
English Standard Version. Just as a reminder, I don't know if we mentioned that in a previous episode, but yes, we are reading from ESV.
Yes.
Okay, so Genesis chapter 16, verses 1 and 2. Now Sarai, Abram's wife, had bore him no children. She had a female Egyptian servant whose name was Hagar. And Sarai said to Abram, Behold now, the Lord has prevented me from bearing children. Go in to my servant. It may be that I shall obtain children by her. And Abram listened to the voice of Sarai.
What's wrong with y'all, girl? What's up with her?
This is standard practice.
I'm saying.
It's standard practice, though. That's what I was reading. That this was normal. Like, you can't have kids. You have kids by somebody else, and we see that a lot. Yeah, we see that a lot later down in scripture, especially in Genesis, where people are like, even if they could have children, they still like, I want more children. Sleep with her. Sleep with her. Sleep with
right.
Like, it's enough. It's enough, people.
Come on. Nah, you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, this was a practice from other ancient Near East folks as well, but it still seems off, though. I mean, do you think so? We've gone from looking at Abram and how he felt about, like you were saying, sort of the fear of maybe not coming to pass what the Lord had put into place. And now I think we're starting to see it from Sarai's viewpoint as well. And she's willing to do something about it to try and bring to pass, this. I mean, the only thing I struggled with in reading this was I have to think that every time Abram was told that we'll have children and nations and offspring as numerous as the stars, that he's going back and telling Sarai this too. I mean, we're not really told that, but because if it doesn't, then this move is just sheerly out of her not having children and feeling a way about it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, so what else jumps out to you from this passage? How we feel about Hagar?
I mean, clearly she was decent enough for her to suggest her. Like, she looked okay enough.
That's crazy talk. if I was a woman, I'd be like, no, you get the ugliest maidservant I have, buddy.
Yeah, right.
Bucko.
Me, yes. Yes, I would too. Like, let me find the bottom of the barrel. Like, let me find the worst of the worst. But I mean, I would
Probably
assume
should have
that.
said that. I apologize. Go ahead.
I mean, well, honestly, if and I don't know how it was back in the day, but like, I would have just based on the attitudes and like just I don't know the way I took this. I said this could go two ways. What it could be, Sarai is like, I really want children, and we
Mm-hmm.
need to have children. So
Mm-hmm.
have children.
Right.
Or perhaps she's seeing the distress that Abram's kind of under right now. Like, where is this child? Where is this lineage? Where is all where are all these things? Perhaps she's trying to just help her husband.
Right.
So depending on which one you feel could determine like the attitude she takes when she goes to pick a servant. I mean, a female Egyptian servant, were there any more? Like, wasn't she the only choice? All of this went through my head when I was thinking about
Yeah.
like,
That's good
why
questions.
her?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know why her. She just picked her, and I guess because we're
Mm,
not really given a reason why one over the other. Just that hey, she's got a female Egyptian servant whose name is Hagar, and I think we'll
mm,
see some things play out that when you go further down the line in Scripture, we'll almost see some role reversal
mm,
that's happening here between Egypt with Hagar and Sarai, right? Um, Israel, right? Starting of Israel, a Hebrew, right?
mm.
So there'll be some flip, I think, that happens when you get down into Exodus. Um, but so we start off, and Sarai's issue is that she's got no children, and we've been told this since what chapter 11 that she's not
Mhm.
without child, not able to bear children, and so now she's reached her wit's end, as y'all pointed out, and I'm going to do what I have to do, which again is a common practice. And then now is when y'all say to me, "What's wrong with your boy?" Because
Honestly, I think that when I used to read this story, that's what I would think. Like, why would you say yes? But
okay,
then I started thinking, God has never said to him that the child is coming from Sarai, right? We keep hearing that your descendants, Abram, will be this, this, and this. And I don't think, unless I missed it, that Sarai is mentioned before this point, before the point where she's saying, hey, take this, take that. Even when he said, my servant is going to be my heir, this
mm-hmm,
this kid that he mentioned, and they were like, no, your son, your own
right,
son. So he's like, I mean, I just need to have a son. That's what it's sounding like to me. It don't matter how I have a son, as long as I have a son,
right.
and Sarah's giving me the green light, I I just need to have a son, right?
That's
Because that's
crazy.
where the promise is coming from.
No, but
Because yeah, I was just say because that's kind of how I read it. Because as you go further, we get more details about who the heir is supposed to come from. But before that, we didn't. So I gave him a lot more grace reading it again because I used to be like, this guy,
right,
like,
Yeah.
right.
you already don't care about her. You giving her to the Egyptian guy who wanted to take her. Now you sleeping with random girls because she says so. Like,
She's not a
but now I'm like,
rando. Sleeping with randos.
Basically.
yeah. I think
Mm-mm.
the other thing is a lot of people talk about how they got the Egyptian, like how
Mm-hmm.
did you get an Egyptian servant, and that goes back again to him deciding to go during that famine to
Right.
Egypt
Yep.
and them being sent away with all of these possessions, including people,
Yep.
including probably Hagar.
Right.
um so it's all coming back to bite him in his butt. Like,
Yeah.
everything's coming back.
Coming back. Coming back. Huh. That's interesting. So, because what it sounds like you're saying is you give Abram a little bit of leeway, for lack of a better term, because one, this was accepted during that time, a common
Mhm.
practice, not accepted, a common practice during that time, and Abram is not. It hasn't been spelled out specifically to him about from whom this, his offspring is going to come from. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. I get a man a little bit. Usually I be hard on y'all, but I give him a today.
I don't know. I feel a little harder on him though.
Interesting. Look at the tables
I
are
know the
turning.
tables are turning, and yeah, I don't know why. I just feel like this is. I don't know. Maybe it's because we've moved down the path, but I feel like this is more egregious than some of the other things that men who have been shown as righteous have done. Right? Noah, he got drunk. Okay, he got drunk. Dude, in Genesis, and going back to Genesis, we're told you stay with this one person, right? Y'all become one. And here he is, like, oh, I get an opportunity to do something else. So I'm going to do it. I'm like, I don't like that. So
I don't know.
that's why I'm a little flipped.
But okay, if I'm Abram, if I try to get into his mind,
Hmm.
a question that I would ask is, how do I know that this isn't the way it's supposed to play out? Like, how the Lord hasn't said, to Moya's point, the exact way that this is going to happen. So, what if my wife is okay with this? So, what if this is it? Like, this is the path forward? Like, I would bring that into question. Granted, I would probably, if me and the Lord had been in some communication, I would be
Hmm.
like, Lord, yes or no. But if that wasn't, and if I got some kind of confirmation, then I would be able to move forward differently. But otherwise, he could be assuming that maybe that's just how it's supposed to be, giving him a little bit of grace and credit. Now, I'm with you. I'm kind of like,
So I say all that, but yeah, we ain't letting this
yeah,
happen.
because I think, like you said, if it feels egregious, but I don't know. I think the Sarai like co-signing it is what lessened the blow for me. The reason why I was like giving him a little bit of slack.
Yeah.
Mm.
All right, so I you have something you want to say, Moya? Because I'm about to say something.
Not really. I don't have
Y'all are gonna
anything else.
chastise me.
No, I don't
What?
have anything else.
So we, how do I say this? When do we think that going outside of what the Lord has mandated is the way that He would want things to be done?
Oh, never.
Right. That's one of my things here. Right. Even again, I've been going through Mark with in another site, and even Jesus is like for divorce. Why was um, why was Abram, as he writes later in the Torah, given why was he commanded to give a writ of divorce, like to write down a license for divorce, to allow it to happen? And Jesus was like, because of y'all's hearts. This wasn't because God wanted it. God didn't want it. God doesn't want it. But because of you, He allowed it at that time. So that's the hard part for me, right? And I think so.
Yeah.
I get it what you're saying, right? That yeah, Abram may not have understood it fully, but then I also sit back and say to myself, oh, if hey, um, what am I going to do if I see a knot of a band of hundreds sitting on the ground? Is that how I'm supposed to get it? Do I not
If
be
I'm
the?
supposed to get it, I think we talked about this before. I'm taking it.
Yeah,
But everybody, I feel like, I think as you read the Bible,
Mm-hmm.
you realize that God allows a lot of things, and so then you start giving people more grace, because if God is giving them grace, like, yes, we know that we're commanded to have one husband, one wife, but
Right.
he's not the first, second, third,
No, he's not.
hundredth. Like, there's lots of people, and we use David as an example. Like, he's righteous, considered righteous. He also is not sticking with one wife.
No.
So, like, it's hard to say it's right in this case, not right in this case. They're all wrong, but is God using that person still?
Could
And
be.
can we give
Can
Abram
be.
grace in this situation, because he's waited at this point, what, 10 or so or more years,
Yeah, we'll
and
find out.
no one, and we don't know the relationship he has with God. We don't know how often he's talking with God. We don't know what questions he's asking, because men don't be asking the right questions. That's
No, we
another
don't.
thing. Y'all be
Oh
asking enough
gosh,
questions.
we catching
So
strays. You said
I'm
you was
just
going to be
saying.
nice to Abram. Now you taking shots.
But I'm saying, and that's why I'm giving him grace, because I know men don't be asking questions. He didn't ask, is it Sarai? Like, who's having the baby? Okay, I'm supposed to have a son. Like Jasmine said, did he pray about it? Did he go to God and say, excuse me, God, is the son by her? Because she getting a little old. Or is it okay for me to go ahead with Hagar? He did it. So he did what he felt was right, the same way he went to Egypt, even though God could have provided for him where he was at. He's doing things as a human. Like, he's not doing it as this was ordained by God.
Again, I hear you. I get what you're saying. I pick up what you're laying down. It's not what God wanted.
Yeah, we can
And
say
so,
that.
so, and I understand, right? Sometimes we get caught up in other people are doing it. I can too. And I don't want to come off as like high and whatever, right? Because I'm definitely not. I definitely mess up. But I try my best to not take liberties where I know God has said, nah, you don't do this. I do my best to do it. Am I perfect? No, nobody is. And I'm not trying to castigate Abram. I mean, hey, Abram wrote the Torah. He's way better than I am. He's the first prophet. So who am I to him? But, and I know that can be an eraser word. And I should say, I feel a little crazier about Abram doing this than anything else that I've seen thus far. So that's just my take. That's just my take.
You're referring
So
just from beginning of Genesis to here, not
yeah,
like Bible.
yeah, not going on to like you said, David issue, Solomon, same type of thing with concubines and all of that type of stuff. And even Saul, I'm sure. I don't know. That's a good question. Do I look at them sideways too? Saul, no, because I know where he wound up. David, I feel a kind of a little bit of a way about some of the things that he did. Again, not trying to judge him, but I mean, I think that we should look at these situations and try and take from them where we can possibly behave differently. And I think that this is one where maybe even in modern times or with my current situation, I'd be like, yeah, if I were to try and do something like this, or even if I were offered this now, is this something I would do? There's no
Yeah.
way it would ever happen. I'd never get offered this. It's not what's going to happen. But it's like, what would you do, right? If I were put in that situation, and
Or
I'd like to think that I'd turn and run. But
what about like Jacob? And we haven't gotten there yet. And we'll talk about him probably I don't know if it's in
in
this season or
terms
not.
of in terms of him being tricked with
Yeah.
Leah,
He ends up with the two wives. It's not, I don't think that's God's plan either, but it is what it is. He ends up with them.
yeah. I mean, but see, and I get it. He loved um, Rebecca, right?
Rachel.
That Rachel, thank you. That's who he wanted, and he got tricked into having Leah. I mean, uh, as crazy as it is, according to what was set up in Genesis, he's
Mhm.
supposed to stick with where he's at.
So crazier things have happened. I think this is
Yes.
okay. Not okay, but I think this
Yeah.
is like little stuff to me in comparison. And that's why I was like, originally I was definitely like how you are. Like, okay, God said this is wrong, this, and this. But now I'm more, it is wrong, but
Mm-hmm.
I can see how you got here.
Right. Yeah.
That makes
I can too. But don't you feel like, and we haven't even gotten through two verses yet. But don't you feel like it's the ebb and flow with everything? It's like just the last chapter, and you mentioned it in the ISO boom. Hey, you righteous. You believe God. Now you're going to do this.
there are a lot of instances in his story where I feel like, does this take away from that righteousness we were talking about?
It can't.
And yeah, so that's the thing. You can't. So, but it keeps happening. This is not going
Yeah.
to be the first time. It's going to keep happening over and
So,
over.
he's like, yeah, well, get used to it, Chris, because that's
Yeah,
Abram.
pretty much. Because
That's
he
what's
be
going to
tripping.
happen. I don't know. But maybe it's me and the what's happening here. It just bothers me, but I look at it a little sideways. All right.
All right. Genesis chapter 16, verses 3 to 6. So after Abram had lived 10 years in the land of Canaan, Sarai, Abram's wife, took Hagar the Egyptian, her servant, and gave her to Abram for her husband. Wait, and gave her to Abram her husband as a wife.
Hmm.
And he went into Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, she looked with contempt on her mistress. And Sarah said to Abram, "May the wrong done to me be on you. I gave my servant to your embrace, and when she saw that she had conceived, she looked on me with contempt. May the Lord judge between you and me." But Abram said to Sarai, "Behold, your servant is in your power. Do to her as you please." Then Sarai dealt harshly with her, and she fled from her.
Wow. Again, what's wrong with your girl? Y'all need to get your girl. No, I'm
she
joking.
needs she no, she actually needs some help.
Yeah.
So, do you all see the parallels with Genesis 3? Did you all pick up on those?
Mm-mm.
How she took Hagar
Okay,
and
and gave her
gave.
husband. Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
So this is almost to me there's a little replay of Genesis 3 happening here. And then to top it off, she gave to her husband, and what did her husband do?
Ate it.
Nothing. He ate. He ain't pushed back. He ain't do nothing.
That,
She took Hagar, which is a little crazy, gave Hagar, which is a little crazy, to her husband, and what did her husband do? Nothing. Like, okay.
Mm.
And then when how did so if we let this play out, let's say it this way, if we let this play out, you would think that with all of this that happened, that Hagar would be happy, right? And
Hagar or
obvious
Sarah.
no, Sarai would be happy. And obviously she isn't.
But I don't think she wasn't happy that she conceived. She was unhappy that this girl is looking at her crazy now. Like she's feeling herself a little bit too much.
Agreed. So my second take of going back to Genesis, this tree was supposed to give you knowledge, and you thought that that knowledge would make you good and like God, but all it did was let you see your own sin, your
Mm-hmm.
own issues, your own nakedness, and you're going to die from it. She thought that having a child through Hagar, Sarah that is, that having a child through Hagar would solve her problems, but instead it led to some contempt from this
Mm-hmm.
person that you thought would be providing what you needed, and
Yeah.
then causing strife between you and your husband.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's crazy. First of all,
All
I
right,
find it a
so
little bit crazy. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I find it a little bit crazy that Sarai is like, "This is your fault, and this was your plan, girl." This was Sarah's plan, and she's over here mad at her husband. But it's always easier to blame someone else when things aren't going how
Hmm.
you anticipated, because I guess she was expecting that Hagar was going to be like, oh, this is like very maybe like humbled and not, boasting in the fact that she was able to conceive. But you never know how things are going to work out when you take things into your own hands. And then, not to mention, I was just thinking when you were saying, when you were talking, Chris, the Lord be trying to save us from ourselves. Because if you really think about, like, the actions that we take always leads to these crazy consequences if you don't consult the Lord first. And it's like it'll backfire. Like there's two
Hmm.
doors you can go through, and like the Lord's choice is over here, but you go through this door and it's like you walk through it and it's on fire.
Right.
Right? I'm trying to help you. Like this path to this door, the other door is lit up, it's beautiful, but you're like, that's probably a gimmick. Let me go over here. Like
Yeah.
it's really interesting watching this all unfold and then seeing Sarai's attitude like after the fact. I
Hmm.
thought it was really, really interesting. And then not to mention, I mean, well, we have to read a verse for it to make sense, but I'll wait, I'll hold it.
Okay.
I'll hold it.
All right, Moya, what you got? You look like you ready.
Okay, the first thing that stood out to me in these verses was the fact that she gave her she gave Hagar to her husband as his wife.
Right.
Like not his concubine, not his like side joint. Like it says wife, but it uses the
Side.
same word. No, but it was using the same exact word. When they say Abram's wife and then they say wife over here, it's the same word.
Hmm.
And I was reading that there is another word that should be used or you would
Yep.
think would be used, but
Right.
that's not what's used here. So he has now two wives. So would it still then be her child? Because it's like you gave her as a wife. So now that child doesn't seem like it belongs to you. And maybe that's why Hagar is like, oh no, no baby girl, I'm the wife. Like I'm
Mhm.
not just some girl anymore. I am a wife. And she's looking like, and I got pregnant. So like
Na,
what
na,
are you
na,
really?
na.
What are you even here
Right.
for? He doesn't even
Right.
need you anymore.
Yeah.
So it's like the status that she has is much higher than what we talk about other people who had other wives and concubines. Like everybody has these different levels that they are at, and it seems like Hagar is at a much higher level than I would have expected her to be.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Unless and I don't know, because no, I'm trying to think back when we were talking about Lamech. Did he have multiple wives or did he have
Yeah.
concubines?
Yeah. Multiple
Okay,
wives. Yeah, they said he
yes,
had
I believe
multiple wives.
that wasn't a thing yet.
I forgot what their names were, but they were multiples. It's been 10 years. So that contributes to, like you were saying in your tea, Jasmine, the fear is continuing to grow. And so we didn't get a time in the first two. We just get opened up with, hey, Sarah's going to do this thing. And now we see it's been 10 years
Mhm.
that she's been expecting this child. So I don't know if it's 10 years in the land of Canaan. So 10 years from the start, and chapter 15 happened just a couple months ago or something. I don't know. But yeah, she's just desperate. She's
Yeah.
desperate. And I think to your point earlier, one thing I wanted to mention is usually when we pick that side, that right, when God says go this path and we pick the other, it's usually like this, that we don't want to wait for this
Mhm.
this path. We think that we know better than picking the path that God wants, or we think that it'll be easier if we pick our path because God's path looks hard. Uh,
Mhm.
and I think all of those are in play here, right? I'm going
Yeah.
to try and do it my own way.
Yeah.
And to your point, that gets us in trouble more times than not.
Mhm.
That gets us in trouble more times than not. Did y'all make anything of "May the Lord judge between you and me"?
Yeah, I was thinking about like how Adam got the bulk of the punishment because he was the one getting the words
Yep.
from God. Where same here, where Abram, he's the one hearing what God is saying. So she might feel like you knew better, like you should have known
Yeah.
better. It's like this
Yeah.
thing a little bit,
Yeah.
but I don't know. That man was like, "Girl, that's your maidservant. Do whatever you want.
Do
I
what
don't
you
even
want.
care. I'm just here. I'm just
Right.
here."
Mm-hmm.
Oh man.
Yes, exactly. That's what I was gonna say too. I was like, this when he said, "Do with her what you please," I was like, "Oh, okay, Abram, are you just sitting back and like, well, I'll let Sarai just take. I'm tired. I don't know when this is ever gonna happen. She's taking action. I'll just sit here and let it happen." Like that's kind of what I got from that. And then like I have the same exact thought with Adam and Eve. Like, why does she feel like there's a difference? Because I'm just feeling like it's very similar here. Like
Hmm.
both times when you're taking like blind steps. That's another thing. Another comparison that I make. You're walking with your eyes covered because
Hmm.
you're taking these steps thinking that you're doing what's best for you. Hold, I'm telling you, I really was thinking like, what is stopping y'all from just saying, Lord, y'all got him on speed dial on the main line. The Lord has been communicating, like we've seen in previous chapters. The Lord is communicating with you guys.
Right.
So what is stopping that from happening? And in my mind, I'm like, maybe this is all happening so quickly. Like maybe I don't know what's the holdup.
Yeah. Yep. I'm with you. I'm with you on all of those. With you on all of that. Well, we got a weird spot going on here.
Mhm.
Anything else?
Yeah,
All
Abram is
right.
really
Cool.
to me. I think that his like nonchalantness is just interesting
Right.
because
So
she's
do.
pregnant with his kid and she's just like, do whatever you want with her.
Yeah.
So he doesn't actually like he just doesn't care that much about anything. It seems like he just doesn't seem like he
Yeah.
cares at all about anything.
So does that nonchalantness take you back to Adam and his unwillingness to act when he took the fruit?
Maybe, but it seems like Abram is just nonchalant towards women. Maybe that's the
Uh.
thing. Like it's just because when his nephew had an issue, he was ready and squared up. When his wife is in the line of danger, it's just like, whatever. Like it's just whatever. Hagar is in the line of danger. It's whatever. Like I don't care.
Huh.
That's
That's
how that's
interesting.
how feeling to me. Like why don't you care about these women?
Oh, gosh.
You only care about Lot.
Man. Woo.
He continues to care about Lot, and he cares about his sons.
Right.
It's something going on here. It's a little male centered.
This is patriarchy. This is what's going on. Oh man. All
Yeah.
right. I'm gonna get you out of trouble for a little bit, Abram. Genesis chapter 16, verses 7 through 10. The angel of the Lord found her by a spring of water in the wilderness, the spring on the way to Shur. And he said to Hagar, servant of Sarai, where have you come from and where are you going? She said, I am fleeing from my mistress, Sarai. The angel of the Lord said to her, return to your mistress and submit to her. The angel of the Lord also said to her, I will surely multiply your offspring so that they cannot be numbered for multitude. What's popping off in there? Who steps on the scene?
Angel of
The
the
angel of the
Lord.
Lord. So is that the Holy Spirit? Am I
It's
like
but
just it's just an angel?
No, I think most places will call this a theophany, which means that it's God, the Lord, making an appearance in physical form.
Oh, okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
usually when it's angel of the Lord, it's a theophany. Can be a Christophany, which is the second person of the Trinity showing up. I struggle, and I need to do some more reading as to. All right, someone needs to tell me a real difference between the theophany and the Christophany. Theophany is God. Christophany is the second person of the Trinity. Well, second person of the Trinity is God. So make it make
Right.
sense. But that's me having to go and look at some stuff and see what folks are saying about it.
Okay.
So what else we got going on there? And the Lord, right? This angel of the Lord, he just happened to come upon Hagar, just by
Mm-hmm.
happenstance. It's not like he knew where she was or anything, right?
Mm-hmm.
Found her.
He found her. What do we think about his approach, about him talking to Hagar? How do y'all feel about that, or what do you see in that?
It made me think about your title from last time. Wait, what's that last time? Where did you
Yep,
go?
Cotton Eye Joe.
Yeah, but outside of that, I guess she was heading home. Like, let me just go back to what I know. Let me go back to my people. They
Right.
say this spring would have been kind of on the way back to Egypt,
Yeah.
and she's taking a break. I mean, a woman traveling by herself, pregnant,
Pregnant. Yeah.
that far seems a bit much, but whatever Sarai was doing was enough for her to be like, I'll make the journey.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we pointed this out last time, but I don't think it was Sarai making stuff up. I think something happened. I don't know if it was enough for Sarai to deal with her so harshly that it made Hagar want to run away, though. Does that make sense? Like Hagar, it says, so back in verse 3, verse 4, and Hagar, and he went into Hagar, and she conceived, and when she saw that she had conceived, she looked with contempt on her mistress. So that's from Hagar's point of view, right? That's how I'm reading this. The narrator is telling us what Hagar is doing. She looked on contempt, uh, looked with contempt on her mistress. And then in verse 5, Sarai, from her standpoint, says she looked on me with contempt. So we're
Mm-hmm.
seeing that from both sides. So that leads me to sort of believe, and commentators to say, that there was probably something going on, some issue, something happening between them. But even with what transpired and what was going on, was it enough for Sarai to treat Hagar so harshly that she would want to run away? Um, that's the question. What was she doing to make her leave? We're not told, but it must have been bad for her to want to get out of there like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Did you all struggle with the fact that the angel of the Lord was like, return to your mistress and submit to her? Yeah, me too. I struggle with it. I don't know how to. All I can do is lean on the fact that this is the Lord saying it. So I don't know. Let's start to look at things like, is it for her own protection? Is it because he wants her son to be around Abram? The protection that Abram and his family can provide, as we've already seen with him taking out King Che, right? It's like there's got to be something about the Lord and a reason for him to be like, you need to go back. Because usually when we think of it, it's like if you are a slave, you need to do everything you can to get your freedom. So why are you telling her to go back? Um, and I haven't seen anything that gives me a really, really good answer, which is why I have to go back and lean on the character of God to help me reconcile this right now. So that'll be one of those questions that we're supposed to save up and write down so that when we get to
Mm-hmm.
heaven, why did you have her go back, Lord? You know?
Yeah.
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 And what
And
happens when you get back is,
you said what happens when you get back?
yeah, what happens when you get back because you were being dealt with harshly. Does that continue or does it, like, it's not telling us that Sarah is going to change, Sarah is going to leave you alone. It's just submit and just do whatever
Right.
he's asking of you. Or
Right. So yeah, that one was hard for me. Is it
Well,
because she's representing Israel? and they're the chosen people. I don't know. I don't know. Go ahead, Jasmine. I cut you off. What were you going to say?
No, I was looking at a commentary that was
Mm-hmm.
talking about it, but less of explaining the why really, and more so kind of drawing a comparison, like talking about how the Lord tends, like when we're in, so he related it to real life. He was saying when you are the person being tormented or treated poorly, it's really hard. Like you want to go to somebody and vent, like, oh my goodness, I'm having such a hard time, they're treating me so terribly, and I would never want to be, I don't know, be friends with them or go back to their house or whatever it is. And then if the Lord says, oh yeah, you got to go back, you're like, huh, excuse me,
Mm-hmm.
no, I'm not doing that. Like, or do you know what they did to me? And he was saying that it just like it makes you check yourself. So he was saying, like, I don't want to misquote it, but the way I was, and I listened to it like 3 or 4 times to try to
Mm-hmm.
understand, but the way I was interpreting it was like, you have to check your attitude and check yourself in these kinds of situations where the Lord is putting you back in the situation that you were fleeing from or running from, makes you check yourself,
Mm-hmm.
which goes back to like I was mentioning earlier before we started recording, like you're running from a circumstance, but the Lord is putting you back there or not pulling you from there
Mm-hmm.
because you need to change something about you. And he was like trying to say that's a, I guess, like a real world or like more like a logical way to think about the reason why you would ever want to, or ever, not that you want to, you probably don't want to, but why you would go back into a situation that wasn't serving you prior to now.
Right.
And it's because there's something to be learned. So
Okay.
I thought that was interesting. Not sure if that's the reason. I have no
Yeah.
idea, but I could kind of, I could work my way through that. Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I probably, there's been situations in my life I can think of where I have been talking to like my grandma or someone who has been telling me, well, Jasmine, you have to treat them kind, and you need to do the right thing. Yeah, but do I want to? Like, why would I go and try to, put myself in that situation when it wasn't a good situation to begin with? So I can kind of see that, but
Right.
yeah, that was the approach he took. Like I said, not really explaining really why the angel
Right.
even said to submit to her, like use
Mm-hmm.
those words specifically. But that helped me not
No.
really,
Yeah.
like, that's why that wasn't too hard for me.
Yeah. I think that's the key thing, right? Um, that you're going to run into things that you may not fully understand, or things that you have a different viewpoint on than was in Scripture. Things that you have dealt with in life that make you look at the situation a little more harshly, a little more closely, um, than others may. And at that point, I think you have to make the decision as to what are you going to do. Are you going to lean on who the Lord is, or who He's shown yourself to be, or take this one thing that you know can throw you in a tizzy? You're allowed to ask questions about. You're allowed to ruminate about. But is that going to pull you away? Is that going to pull you
Mm.
away from the Lord? Is that going to pull you away from Scripture? Is that going to pull you away from community because this thing is here? And I think that when these types of things come up, at least for me, right, um, I find that I have to lean into His character. Um, just like you're saying, Jasmine, you found something that made you lean into His molding and His shaping of His people in it. And so I think we just need to be cognizant of those things. And the reason I say that is um, Paul calls himself a servant. And for the longest time, I was like, I'm not a servant. My people have dealt with enough servanthood. I'm not going to be a servant. But eventually, I was like, okay, I can say that I am a servant of the Lord because I know who He is. And that doesn't bother me anymore.
Mm.
So you're going to run into things that can raise questions. And what do you do when those things happen? You lean in. That's what I call it. You lean into who he is. You
Mhm.
don't lean back. Um, you lean back, that gets you into all sorts of problems. All
Yeah.
right. Uh, the last thing that we need to talk about is that the Lord basically made her a promise. What do you think about a promise?
Thought it was interesting because I was thinking like it's not the same wording per se, but this sounds awfully familiar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does.
And
It does.
why this promise? Like why something so similar to is basically what we heard with Abram.
Mm-hmm.
Like why what makes Hagar a standout? I mean, and it may not matter, but I was thinking, and I guess we don't know necessarily why Abram, but I was thinking why does her line have to multiply and multiply, and why does going back to submit to Sarai warrant a covenant of this magnitude?
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know. Like that was
Yeah.
I have no idea.
You got something more?
The only thing I would say is it's probably connected to chapter 17,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still a son of Abram, and
Okay.
she didn't choose to be in this at all. Like, she had no say in any of this. The only part where it's like, okay, you did a little bit too much is her, you know, showing contempt towards Sarai. But again, I didn't ask for any of this.
Right.
And I shouldn't be feeling myself, but I got pregnant pretty quickly too. Like, I'm,
Oh God.
I'm just saying, like, it, again, this is the first time we're seeing this, but this is not the only time we see this in the Bible where people are maybe gloat over the fact that they're able to have a child
Oh
over
yeah.
someone else.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, I feel like that's what y'all was doing back then. Like, that, I got pregnant, you didn't. That was the kind of fun people made at each other. So
Mm-hmm.
Sarai was hurt. I get it, but Hagar didn't ask for any of this. You
Yeah.
took me, you gave me, you did all of these things to me, and I'm just supposed to take it. And now the angel of the Lord is saying, go back, submit, do not show contempt towards her, like, suck it all up. But
Mm-hmm.
what do I get out of it? And this is what she gets out
That's
of it.
what you
She's
get. Yeah.
getting a nation, because that's important to them. Their lineage is important to them.
Yep.
Like, your generations after you are, you're basically everything to them.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So,
And this is Abram's son, right?
yeah.
So I think some of this, I don't know if I would call this bless those who bless you, but by the mere fact that Abram is supposed to be the father of nations and father of many, I think that this is sort of just a rubbing off, if you will, of that promise, even though we'll have to see where Ishmael falls in the whole order and organization of things.
Hmm.
Um, and there's something I wanted to go back and touch on all the way back in verse 2. And Sarah said to Abram, "Behold, now the Lord has prevented me from bearing children." Right. So to your point about um, the gloating, right? But it is the Lord, because remember, even when we go back to Genesis, and with Cain, right? Cain, Abel. Abel was the second one, and with Cain, what did Eve say? Oh, something to the effect of, "The Lord has caused me to have a son, or has blessed me with the son," right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now we see that the Lord is given the 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 onus of having children, but we also see that the Lord, in this case, is giving the onus of not having children.
Hmm.
So having children is a big thing, and they're looking at it rightly like having a child is a blessing, and if you don't have a child, then it's because the Lord has not allowed you to do that. Um, and so that gets back to, I think you're right, to some of the gloating, for lack of a better term, that you may see.
Okay, Genesis chapter 16, verses 11 and 12. And the angel of the Lord said to her, Behold, you are pregnant, and shall bear a son. You shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord has listened to your affliction. He shall be a wild donkey of a man, his hand against everyone, and everyone's hand against him. And he shall dwell over against all his kinsmen.
Hmm. So we get some more information about this child that will be born. What do we learn about him?
He'll be a wild donkey of a man.
What? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, yeah. I was like, that's quite the way to refer to your child. Okay.
That's funny. So what does so let's start at the top. So she's pregnant. So one thing that she didn't know is that she's going to have a son,
Mm-hmm.
and then the Lord tells her what he's going to be called. What's up with his name?
God
Y'all seen?
hears. Ishmael means God hears.
Yeah. Yep. Shema, to hear, and El is God. So Ishmael. And then he follows it up because the Lord has listened to your affliction. So God heard her in her affliction. So the
Yeah.
Lord hears. And it's one thing to read, he shall be a wild donkey of a man. But what does that mean?
I read that it meant that he would be wayward and headstrong, like kind of out of control, and gotta have his way type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense.
Yeah. That's what I read as well. That he will be an outlier, won't be like anyone else. Will be headstrong and do his own thing.
Yeah.
And then just sort of like I don't know if you want to call it antagonistic approach, but it's almost like he's going to stand by himself too, right? Do y'all pick that up out of his hand against everyone and
Mm-hmm.
everybody's hand
Mm-hmm.
against him?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
He'll be prone to conflict. This is what I wrote.
is what you wrote.
Yeah. Always have issues.
Yeah. Oh man.
Some of these revelations, I'm like, is this it's the first part sounds good, and then you give me more detail, and I'm like, wait a minute, do I want all this? Because this is sounding not good anymore.
Yeah. I
I
guess.
guess
I mean, I go ahead. Sorry.
I I mean, I guess it'll still equal to the multitudes and all of that, but this doesn't sound great for my son.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was. I was like, maybe it's worth it just to say that there'll be a lot of you. You know.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
don't know.
so which would you rather have? Just as you said in the all right, so boom, the dread of 400 years of captivity, or to be
Mm-mm.
a wild donkey of a man. Which do you want?
I picked none of the
Neither.
above. I want yeah,
Oh man.
Mm-mm.
So
If that's what I get for having a whole bunch, no thanks. Mm-mm.
oh man. All right, so anything else there? We just get some info on Ishmael. You want to
all
finish
right.
this up, Miss Moyle?
Yes. Genesis chapter 16, verses 13 to 16. So she called the name of the Lord who spoke to her, You are a God of seeing. For she said, Truly, here I have seen him who looks after me.
Mm.
Therefore, the well was called Beer Lahi Roy.
Mm-hmm. Close enough.
It lies between Kadesh and Bered.
Mm-hmm.
And Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram called the name of his son, whom Hagar bore, Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bore Ishmael to Abram.
Man. So how does it? How do you think it feels to be? Well, let's not say it that way. No, let's say it that way. How does it make? How should it make us feel to hear what Hagar says about the Lord in verse 13?
Say your question again.
how should it make us feel based on what Hagar says, in particular about the Lord in verse 13? Like
Like
when you
careful.
hear that the Lord sees me, when you
Yeah,
hear, go ahead. I'm
we
sorry.
just had this whole discussion about her being sent back. And
Mm,
in her own words, after hearing everything, she's like, God sees
God
me.
sees
Like,
me.
we're worried about what Sarai is going to do when she gets back or all of these things. And Hagar is like, oh no, like, this man sees me. He's looking after me.
Hmm.
This is the God who does all of those things. And I've been, graced, blessed to be able to see that. And
Man,
she seems okay with it. Like, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And she does what she's told and goes back and has the son.
yeah. I mean, it's something to it, right? Here she is, this mistress. She's not the mistress, but this maid servant who's been put in this horrible situation. I call it horrible. Who's been mistreated just by following the orders of the person that put her in the situation in the first place. Isn't being protected by Abram in any way. Runs away by herself through a desert into what kind of calamity may be awaiting. And yet, still through all of that, you've got this Lord who found her, and as she said, sees her. That to me is awesome. Regardless of your state, regardless of where you are, regardless of what you're going through, you have a Lord that sees you. Even
And
if he
looks after.
says, go back. What was that? I'm sorry.
I say and looks after you.
And looks after you. Yep. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. That just hit me. Um,
Saved it for your benediction or whatever you I keep saying benediction. What's the word?
Invitation.
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 Yeah. That
He'll
just
run
hit
it
me.
back.
So and she commemorates this by naming this well that she was at after him, the Air Lahai Roi.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that means like the living one
Mm-hmm.
sees or something of that nature.
Well of the living one who sees me is
Yeah,
what I
thank you. Yep. Which is pretty cool. And she went back and had the kid. And we get a time marker too, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
Because this is when these time markers get important. So Abram was 86 when he was born, which probably means he was 85 when she conceived.
Yeah.
So he's getting up there. He's getting up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh man, it's just crazy that the Lord even works through these different situations happening. Uh, I think what we see here is an example of us getting in our own way. We see an example of sometimes us getting in our own way and the consequences and repercussions it has on others. We see the Lord working through all of this, even if you go back to chapter 15 and then later on as he's dealing with Hagar. And so it's just we're just dealing with a God who I, I mean, thank goodness he's not a man because there's no way that anyone outside of him could work all of this stuff out. I mean, it's a
Mm-hmm.
lot that's going on and a lot to have to juggle. I mean, people complain about being a manager at their job and having to deal with 5 or 6 different personalities. Just imagine dealing with an entire creation. But he is God and he is doing it. And he's doing it even now as he's dealing with us and wanting to reconcile us back to him and wanting to have us um, be, as Abram was pointed out, to be counted as those who are righteous. Um, and we've said it time and time again here that Abram's seed, I mean, just think about it. When we looked at Joseph and we got to the blessing and the blessing of Judah, and it says something to the effect that the scepter shall never leave from you. That scepter was pointing to none other than Jesus. And when we go back to Genesis chapter 3:15 and we look at this seed who's going to come from a woman that's going to crush the head of a serpent, that's pointing to none other than Jesus. When we looked at Ruth and we looked at her line and the fact that Ruth had a son for Naomi, and then that son is going to ultimately lead to King David, who then ultimately leads to Jesus. All of these things are being put together by God to ultimately lead to Jesus, such that he can be, as John, the Gospel of John said, the Lamb of God who takes away the sins of the world. So I pray that we would remember that this Jesus who came, who died, and who was raised again on the third day is the one who takes away the sins of the world. There is no other way. There is no other one. It can't be done by anyone else. Only Jesus. So our prayer is that you would believe in him, believe in the fact that he died for your sins, that he was buried, and that he was raised on the third day. If you believe that, then you're saved. Um, if you believe that, then let us know, because we'd love to celebrate with you. If you believe that, then the next thing to do is to be discipled. If you don't know where to go, don't have a church, don't know anybody that goes to a church, just let us know. We'll do our best to find a Bible believing, Bible teaching church for you. So again, we do this not because we just like to talk to each other, even though I really enjoy talking to you guys. But I think what we want to do is to have an honest resource for folks, and for folks to hear about how good Jesus is. So, with that said, anything else that we need to touch on? All right.
Nope.
Again, you guys rock. And with that said, we out of here. Another one in the can. Deuces.